Anyways, I want you to know that we're going to keep this session as simple as possible. We want the layman to understand it. In actual fact, the course is designed around simplicity. The truth is that anyone can get into the mobile application business. You don't need to be technical. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't even need to learn how to code. That's the purpose of this course, to teach you how to create and monetize your own application, whether it's a mobile app or a website. Of course, we have a ton of lectures in the course already, and we also have about 30 to 40 plus live sessions that you can join just like this, except you get to come on screen and ask your questions, go back and forth, talk about things you're working on, ideas you have, and also work on this real business that we're actually creating in the real world. Now, I want to tell you what we're working on today. Today we're looking at technical integrations. I want to talk a little bit about that. And what I mean is, in this specific case, we're talking about email notifications, which is to say, if you're using a web application, right, which is different than a mobile application. A web application is that which runs in the browser. It's that which you might access typically either from your personal computer or from the web browser on your phone. So the web application, that's going to need a different kind of notification than a phone would. A phone will operate with push notifications, which is different. And, it's better, but mobile applications are more expensive. That's something I want you all to be aware of. So generally, when you're first creating an app, you want to create a web application as opposed to a mobile application. So what we've done is we've created a web application. It is, in fact, what you would call an MVP, a minimum viable product. So this is the MVP that we've been working on. And the great thing about the course is that as I go through and teach this course, I ensure that you guys are understanding the full scope of what it takes to be successful in the mobile application business, which is to say you have to understand the challenges, you have to be able to anticipate the things that'll not be easy. And that's what I'm bringing to you, is that ability to truly understand how to get things done in this particular business type. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure you guys can see me at the same time. Great, thank you for confirming that. So here we are. This particular technology we're working on is called I'm Down to Chat. I'm just trying to check right now, see what it looks like on YouTube. Okay, yeah, that is nice and crisp. Great. So anyways, just to give you guys a quick overview on it, this is a technology that allows people who have high communications volume, perhaps influencers, to get paid to reply to DMs. So it essentially monetizes the inbox. The challenge is that you want people to be able to respond in a timely fashion. When you're operating from a web application, the best notification that someone could get would be either via text message or via email. And so that's what we've been working on. I also want to show you the technology that we use to manage our bugs, which is Atlassian. And so we want to go through, we've been having our team, our developers submit and let us know, what they fixed. Now, me, I don't trust anything. Increasingly, I don't trust a thing. So I always double, triple, quadruple check things. And this is a great technology for managing your team, managing bugs, managing a number of things. Project management, you might say in summary. So anyways, let's take a look at this one. What I like to always do is make sure that things are well commented. So I always go down to the comments and I like to sort for all to see if the developer actually claims that it's finished. So right here, Saeed says that it is done. So let's see what I asked him to do. When the user lands on I'm down to .chat and clicks influencer sign up after submitting information, the next screen does not populate. So basically it's saying when an influencer tries to sign up, it does not go on to the next screen. So now let's go ahead and test that. So here we are. I'm clicking influencer and I'm going to sign up. Actually, this is a new computer, so I don't really have any images. I'll just use that random image as a face. And then I'll enter my name, which is Vladimir Putin. And really it should have asked me for my @ but we'll just use that for now. And then I'm going to put me at Marquette Devon. So I'm signing up as the influencer. Then I'm going to put in a password. So I'm just going to use password, the number 1, and then exclamation point. Now I'm clicking next. says registration, blah, blah, blah. Then it reads something went wrong. So clearly this bug is not fixed, right? Now, you always want to try to modify things to see if you can identify the bug. Not that it's your job, because it's not. So I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to select an image again. So this is a PNG image. That might be the issue. So I'm keeping an open mind for it could be the format of the image there. So I'm just going to try one word here. So Vladimir Putin as one word. Then I'm going to put in my email address, me@marquettedevon.com. Then I'm putting a password, same password as last time. And I'm clicking next. It says email already taken. So what that's indicating to you is that even though I got an error message, it did in fact, on the technology side, it added a record to the database, which is to say it actually did create the user account, even though it did not allow me to log in. So this is an obvious bug. This is something that I'll pass off to the dev team so that they can fix it. And this is the tedious nature of the software business in the early stage, which is to say that before you can afford to hire a QA person, which means quality assurance, you are the QA person. And the truth is, even when you do hire a QA person, you're still going to want to check on these things if you're one focused on excellence. Shout out to Botic, comes in by PayPal. He writes, "Peace of Saints, love the business-based sessions. Jira is great as well. I use it at work also." Yes, indeed. This is definitely one of the foremost in technologies that are used. So being that I know this record was added, even though the sign-up process is showing an error, I'm going back to the main screen. I'm going to type in me@marquettedevon, and then I'm going to type in the password, which was password. PASSWORD, the number 1, then exclamation point, then I'm clicking go. It says logged in successfully. So when you're developing software, generally you want to focus on bugs that prevent the purchase, right? They get in the way of the true business to be done. In this case, as an influencer, we're currently logged in. We don't have any chats. No one has sent us any chat. So I'm going to leave that account right there. And then I'm going to go on my phone and see if I can log in as a fan and find Vladimir. So in fact, so that you guys can watch, I'm going to log out of Vladimir. Let me make sure you guys are still seeing me. I'm going to log out of Vladimir. So boom. I'm no longer Vladimir. Now I'm going to try to sign up as a fan. I want you guys to also notice something from a design standpoint. You can see this link here at the bottom right corner. It reads fan sign up. Well, we made this link small because most of our fans are not going to sign up from our landing page. Most of our fans are going to sign up from from the profile of an influencer. And so we're designing the page based on who is most important on that given screen. May I acknowledge Dwayne supporting the work via Cashapp. He writes, "Praying for the day of my first baller alert, Saint." Yes, indeed. I would like to see it too. Wishing you much peace as you make progress toward that. May I acknowledge JVR comes in with tuition via Cashapp. Shout out to the real one supporting the work. And may I acknowledge Marlon, who just became a member at patreon.com/the Saint in the Center. Isaiah writes, okay, Isaiah has a new listing that's going to be coming up. He has some chains that'll be coming up. Isaiah, may I encourage you to email jason@marquettism.com and send him everything you need for your listing and ask him if he can go on go on the Sassin and click create product and then list your product. And so we'll definitely get that done for you, Isaiah. I also acknowledge EJ writes, "Peace of the Saints" via PayPal. Truly appreciate it. I don't know if anyone has actually come in via Super Chat yet. I actually don't like Super Chats, truth be told. But if someone does come in at the $100 level, it'll do the text-to-speech. So if someone for some reason does come in at that level and it doesn't do text-to-speech, somebody let me know. Because I've been, working on this this software for some time to make sure that that is working. Anyways, let's go back to here. I'm going to fan sign up. And one thing that I'm suspicious about, I think the developers are, perhaps they've made a mistake, but we shall see. You see this URL right here? It reads, "I'm down to .chat/sign up." The weird thing is when I click influencer, it goes to the same sign up form. The influencer and the fan are different identities. They should not be filling in the same information. So as a result, I know that I need to be suspicious. And again, in this era, you can't trust much of anything, so you must always check. Anyways, let's do the fan sign up, see if we get the same error. So here we are, we selected an image, and I'm going to put fanboy, and then I'll put the email as marquette@hobbybuddy.com, and then I'll put the same password, password P, capital PASSWRD. Let me do this. Had to do that. I'm going to do this one more time because I want it to be correct. There we go. Had to take my time. I'm on a new keyboard and the keys are not the same distance as my old keyboard. So as we see, we got the same error here. So this is certainly something that we have to tell our developers to fix. Now, here's a funny thing in business. It's just like the regular society. You can't trust anyone. You got to double check, triple check their work. And as they say, never attribute something to malice that could be the result of stupidity. And I would like to also add greed, fear, lack of carefulness, selfishness, all these things. So, these people clearly were not very careful, but I do believe similarly that the fan account was added to the database. So I'm going here again. I'm going to type in marquette@hobbybuddy.com. Okay, just heard a sound there. And I just heard two sounds. I didn't see anything, but I heard two sounds. Can anyone, shout out to Gordon supporting the work, sends in via Super Chat. I heard a sound, but I didn't see anything. My alert box. Maybe my alert box is not on top. Oh, maybe that's the issue. Oh, okay, I got it. I didn't realize I can drag these things. Okay. You guys heard it too. Okay, that's a good sign. We're making progress from the last stream. Fantastic. So I just moved the alert box up on top, so I think that might help us actually see the super chat, the next one that comes through. Anyways, as I said, I do believe that the fan account was created, so I'm just going to type in the password. And I'm clicking submit. It says logged in successfully. And the nice thing about that is it moved pretty quickly. You guys probably don't think much about this as you're using websites as a consumer, but when you create websites, you become very aware of loading speed. How quickly does the website render into the browser? And I was very pleased with how quickly this one just loaded. That was a great thing. So I'm very happy about that. And that's a testament to our the Amazon Web Services that we use. We did change different hosting companies for various reasons that you can see in the previous lessons. So anyways, let's see if we can find that person that was just created. I think their name was Vladimir Putin. One word, or two words actually. So I'm just going to use the search feature. So I'm going to put Vladimir. There it is. So we notice a couple things. The first thing we notice is an issue is the photo. The photo is corrupted, so it's not rendering properly. That could be due to the format. It's a PNG file. Typically, your developers, especially if they're low-cost developers, they're using PCs. They're developing around certain assumptions with PCs. JPEG files are small, and generally you'll see more JPEG files out in the marketplace. And so maybe I'll go back and try this again with the JPEG file and see if the image works. But anyway, so I've been able to log in as a fan, and I see my influencer that I want to message. I click buy message. Their photo should be displayed here. It reads get guaranteed reply for 20 bucks. Okay, you got a deal. So I click that. And now it's about to collect my my credit card details or my debit card details so that I can pay to message this influencer. This is actually live. You can create what's called a sandbox. A sandbox is really an environment wherein you can use fake credentials, like fake credit card credentials on your own website just to test out your payment processor. In this case, this is actually live, so I do need to put in real credit card details. So I'm going to take this off screen and try to buy a message to Vladimir Putin. So if you guys would give me a second to do that. And while I'm also doing that, if you guys would be kind enough to confirm that you cannot see that previous screen, you can now see my project management screen instead. In fact, I'm just going to take that whole thing off, leave myself there, move this here, boom. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put in my credit card details and make that purchase. I may acknowledge Tommy. He comes in by Cash App. He writes, "Peace to the Saints. I run an IT and business cert company in OH. Great topic." Well, I appreciate that. Indeed, and not only is it a topic, it's actually an entire course that we're maybe about 40% through, and it's a practicum, which means you get to come online with me during our private meetings for the course, and then we talk about this startup and that we're building, and we actually get to work and doing the damn thing. Anyways, I'm grabbing my credit card details right now. I'm gonna pop those in. And I thank you to those who support the work and support this education, because I'm one of the few persons online who actually can teach you how to create a software business, as I've done this successfully more than once. Looks like it's making me enter this manually. That hurts my heart. What I really like about this course is that it shows you every single thing that you need to do to create the business, being that we're actually creating a real software product and company. And it lets you know that it requires consistency, that everything is not linear. There'll be setbacks. So I just like the realism of it. Okay, so this is actually in test mode right now. Huh. Okay, cool. So I'll show you guys what that is like. So this is in fact in test mode. So my developers don't have this live right now. So I can show you this, and I think I can use some dummy credentials as well. So let me just make sure this doesn't reveal anything I don't want it to reveal. Okay, great. Now, so I'm going to put that back on screen. And this I really like, because this is a unique look under the hood at what it's like to, build a web application. So here we are. So for example, say you put in real credentials, right? So you see it's populating the credentials, and then you put in your name, okay, and then you put in like expiration details, and then you put in your CVV. So I'm clicking add, right? I'm live right now. Okay. Okay, it didn't reject it the way that it did before. It says your card number is incorrect. Duh. Give me a second here, folks. And this is the nature of the software business, is that it's tedious. So if you don't have patience in general, business is not for you. Business is not for you. Certainly the software business is not for you, because it does take time. It takes trial. We call them bugs when you're dealing with technology. It's a bug, but I think that's an apt metaphor for just the practice of business in general, right? Which is to say that there are kinks every time. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get my website to tell me where to go to find that dummy data. And when I mean dummy data, I'm talking about the fake credit card information that I could use to test out this particular feature. I see someone sent a super chat. Let's see if it actually automatically pops up the way we want it to. Okay, so I just heard that. It says King Toon donated through Super Chat. Fantastic. And it has his message. It's just a bit small, so I think we can just enlarge that a bit so that we can actually read it next time it comes through. And so once we get to the $100 level, then it'll automatically read the Super Chat for us. King Toon writes, "It's been 1 year since I've started watching live streams, and you're the first one I've ever seen teach bison like this. Peace to the saints. Bison. Bison? I don't know what you mean by bison. Okay. Yeah, if you want to clarify what you mean, Tune, because I don't know what you mean by that. I'm assuming that's a typo. Anyways, give me some patience, ladies and saints. This is a valuable education. It's worth waiting for. I'm just testing this credit card number at the moment. You know, the funny thing is, for a lot of people who take coding boot camps, their goal is not to be a coder. Their goal is to produce a mobile application and then produce some money, right? That's generally what the goal is. But they take these coding boot camps, and the truth is, coding is not for everyone. It requires decent math skills. It requires extraordinary patience and the ability to persist, which a lot of people don't have. And it's okay if you don't have that. But to be able to produce a mobile application or a web application, you don't need to be a coder. And that's why this course is great, because it not only teaches you how to create the product, but more importantly, how to create the revenue model so that you can generate some money, some wealth. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pop this up and just confirm that you're able to see this. So Stripe is our payment processor, and a payment processor is basically the folks who take your credit card information and they use that information to bill, to collect money. So we use Stripe. Stripe is one of the most commonly used payment processors in the world, I believe, and I highly recommend them. We've generally had a great relationship. I run a number of different businesses using Stripe, so it is recommended. Shout out to King Tune. He writes, sorry for the typo, didn't mean bison, I meant anything. Okay, so his original super chat reads, it's been 1 year since I've started watching live streams, and you're the first one I've ever seen teach anything like this. Exactly. And to learn something like this, it will cost you a pretty penny. So anyways, here's Stripe, and this is a particular page for developers, which is to say for software engineers. And you're often going to have to reference documentation or various things as you're going through your development of your web application or mobile application. So we're going to check out Stripe, which is our payment processor. This is how we collect payment. And right now we're using a sandbox, which is to say we're giving fake credit card details just to test if Stripe is going through. And the reason you would use a sandbox and fake credit card details is so that you don't have to keep spending money just to see if your website is working. You don't have to spend real money. So we're going to talk through that. And mind you, I'm teaching you things you would not learn if you took a bachelor's degree in computer science and electrical engineering, because these things are highly practical. You don't get the practical things when you're in university, as it turns out. You don't get the things that teach you how to make a buck. Shout out to Mr. Tammer writes, upgrades, upgrades, upgrades. The border around your camera makes it seem higher quality for some reason. Maybe it would help to ask the audience about that. I'm not even aware that I don't know what you mean by the border around my camera. Maybe you're talking about the border around the video square that I'm in. But there's a lot of different things we can do. Right now, my main goal is to test the text-to-talk feature and also make sure that the audio is coming in general. And then next time I'm going to test something else. Anyways, thank you for that one. I really do appreciate it. May I acknowledge Matthew. He writes, comment in email. He said that via Cash App. Then he sent his comment. He writes, thank you for everything you do, Mr. Burton. My life is beginning to improve exponentially. For anyone listening, I highly recommend the app Practicum course, as well as Boss University and the Master Communicator course. Also, if you would like to review the website I am working on, streamwager.com. Furthermore, is there anything else I can do for you, Mr. Burton? I appreciate it. That's very considerate. And the man is thinking. You see, this message that he wrote speaks to what he's learning so well. in as much as, number one, he didn't show up empty-handed. A lot of people ask for favors, but they rarely make an offer. So that's a beautiful thing. He also is promoting things that have meaning to me, things that he knows well. And so that's mutually beneficial, right? So that's smart communication. Furthermore, he asked me for a favor, which is reasonable because he just gave me a gift, right? That's the best time to ask for a favor. You give someone a gift, they feel like they need to give you something back. Then in addition to that, he's asking for something meaningful that'll help him make a buck. So he's focused, eyes on the prize. And then lastly, he says, is there anything I can help you with? This is just first-class thinking and communication. I'm very impressed. And also happy to check out your website, because these are the kind of things that we do during the practicum course. And he is, in fact, a student in the practicum course. And so very much so, I'm happy to do this. Anyways, I just put your URL into the web browser. I clicked enter. It says check if there's a domain, and typo in the domain. I'm just going to put www dot, still not loading. It says stream-wager. So it's not popping up, Matthew. Maybe there's a typo here, so feel free to send over the proper URL. And maybe this is the correct URL and it's just, the website is down for whatever reason. That happens. You see people who don't build things, they don't create things, they don't understand that it takes a lot of failure to win. It takes a lot of losing to win. And the software process can be slow at the beginning, but once you actually get the web application up and running, then your money machine is quite infinite, because it's infinitely scalable and it scales very fast. Someone's claiming that there's lag. If anyone else can confirm that, that would be helpful. Anyways, I'm going back to our card testing. So anyways, I'm scrolling down, looking for some card credentials. Let's see. Here we are. So this shows you all of the fake card credentials that you can use in the Stripe sandbox, which is to say when your Stripe payment processor is in developer mode, you can use any of these credentials, right? So here we go. This is a Visa card. Here are the numbers for the Visa card. And I'm going to go ahead and populate these into our web application. So here's our web application. I'm putting in those numbers. Boom, it's recognized it as a Visa. Now I'm going back and it says any 3 digits here and any future date. Okay, cool. So I'm going back to my web application. I'm gonna put in the name Bobby Digital, and then it says anything for here and anything here. So I'm clicking add, and it worked. It says card added successfully. So now it reads get guaranteed reply for 20 bucks. I'm clicking get guaranteed reply. It reads purchase successful. That's good. So now I can go ahead and send this message. Now, there's one of 2 ways I can send this message to Vladimir Putin. I can type out a message and send it, or I can do a voice memo. I'm gonna keep it simple on this first go. I'm gonna go ahead and send a voice memo. The ultimate feature that I'm testing right now are the email notifications. So I'm gonna write, when will your interview with Tucker air? Boom. So now I'm clicking send for $4. Shout out to Matthew. He writes correction, streamwager.online. Okay. Now, Matthew, one thing I want you to be aware of, because we just learned a big lesson in business, right? Is that if you forget your domain, or if you type in the wrong domain with .com, which is the most valuable domain extension in the business, that indicates that your consumers might do the same thing. So, .com is always the best way to go, but we know that this is a minimum viable product. So as a result, you don't need .com right now. You're just testing. Same thing here. We have I'm down to .chat, right? We also have a number of other domains that we own, and we're probably going to use a .com when everything is said and done, because it's the very best way. So here we are. This is our chat with Vladimir Putin. We just sent him a message. We see a timer counting down from 15 hours. This influencer now has 15 hours to reply to us. Great. And that influencer, his email address, I believe, was me@marquettism.com. So I'm going to log into that email address and see if I received a message from the fan. So if you just allow me a moment. And while that's loading, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to type in stream.wager.online. Okay, very cool. So here is the website of Matthew, who is in fact in the practicum course called How to Create and Monetize Your Own App, which is, it's really exciting because my guys are actually building stuff, right? It's like they didn't only take the course, they took the course and learned enough to get something done. So this is really great. This is an actual testament to the work that I do. So I'm honored, and I commend Matthew for actually taking the knowledge and applying it. So shout out to Matthew, shout out to Sharif, shout out to all the people getting things done. Number one, first and foremost, I like the simplicity of this website. I think it's beautifully simple. It's like Craigslist, but with better user interface, a bit more beautiful. So I like that. Simplicity is the key. So I'm a very thorough person. So starting from the upper left, I like the fact that you don't have a logo. I like the fact that it just says Stream Wager, very simple. Okay, cool. Now here I am. It reads home. I think we're already home. List bets. I don't know if that's a listing of bets or that allows me to list bets. I'm presuming it allows me to list bets because this looks like a button to take action. And then it reads registration/login. Okay, that's an interesting way to put that. Generally, as you can see from the from I'm down to chat, I usually like to have the boxes for entering your login information just already displayed, the email box and the password box, where you can just populate it and click login. That's just my preference. It just seems like, you know, much shorter and sharper, but that's cool. Anyways, let's go back to where you are. And I see this is built on Laravel, which is fine. I had stuff built on Laravel probably like damn near feels like a decade now, since like 2014. So, you know, it's a bit old school in my opinion. Anyways, so I'm just scrolling through here. So it reads betting. This is the description of bet. So I'm assuming that this is dummy text here that can be modified. And it says Paul versus Dahl and Den versus Win. So that's not entirely clear. I think maybe this is just like dummy text here. But right here, the event, it says Paul versus Dahl, so I get that. It says price 78. I'd love to see a dollar sign there so people know that this is in USD, because the truth is that you're going to have people from around the world potentially, but at the very least, you always want to have units on all things, right? So you should definitely have a USD symbol there. It says take the bet. So I assume this is the individual person that's taking the bet. This is the individual who bet against Hamad. I remember talking about this particular opportunity before. I don't know that it's necessary to list the person's names. I don't think that's adds any value. And for the better, they might want to remain anonymous. So I would think from a consumer standpoint, you might just like leave those two things off. But it reads place wager and then it says locked. So I think that this is a bit confusing from a UX UI standpoint. It's confusing. So locked indicates that the bet is done, and we see that these are two persons who have bet against each other. So why there's a place wager button, it's not sensible. And the word betting also probably not needed. So I would remove the word betting. The event title I would put here, and I would remove that, and then locked is fine. Now let's see list bets. Okay, cool. So it says select event. Okay, so you can pick an event. You can pick the amount. Very good. You can click place the wager. Your amount must be, okay, so 500 is the max bet. That's fine. You click place wager. Boom. That's the price. That's the event. That's the bet. You put your email and password. Then you log in. And then you put in your credit card information. And then you click pay. Okay, that seems fairly reasonable, except we have to select who's going to win, right? So it should say, so you selected the event, and then you should be able to select Den for the win or when for the win. So we know which way you're betting. And then you always want to collect the credit card information before the login information. You want to collect the payment information like really fast, so before you experience cart abandonment. Furthermore, you have to ask yourself, I'm always asking myself, how can I create a situation whereby the consumer doesn't have to create an account if they don't want to? How do I make sure I can get paid faster? So I think this is a great start here. But I would collect the credit card information faster. I would collect the email up front as well after the credit card information. Excuse me, before the credit card information. And the reason for that is you need a way to contact the consumer if they abandon the cart. And then they click pay, which is fine. I wouldn't have them log in right now. I'd have them pay and then they can log in afterward. We already got their email and we got their payment process. We have a way to contact them if need be in the case that they win or what have you. So also, I know you guys were using Stripe for your payment processing. I would recommend that you use Cash App, because if the person were to pay right now via Cash App or via Cash App, you get the money straight away, and then you also have a way to send the money back, right? So if they pay you via Cash App or PayPal, you can get the money, but you also have a way to send the money back if they were to win the bet. So that is actually preferred over credit card. So being that you might have an international audience, I'd probably use PayPal as opposed to Cash App. So I would start with PayPal. That would be my recommendation. And of course, difference between PayPal and Cash App is you're going to have to deal with potential chargebacks with PayPal. Thank you for sharing this with us. This is neat in as much as, man, you're really building something here. That's cool. I clicked your registration, name, postal code, email, phone, password. Cool, that's to register and log in. Okay, so this is quite atypical to have a registration and a login on the same page. I'd probably, right now, I know you guys are probably using low-cost development firm. Clearly they're in Pakistan is my sense, based on some of the things that I've seen. But I would consider moving on to another developer, in as much as the design here is very antithetical to, they're breaking too many rules. If you break rules of UI, UX, you usually want to break them in a way where you end up, ahead of the pack, avant-garde, but they're breaking them in ways that I think are counterproductive. You see, this is distracting. You don't want the person to be asking themselves, well, which side do I do? Like, do I fill out this information and then click login here? Like, you don't want the user to think. You want the user to not think. You want them to just 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. So anyways, this is good. You're making progress. I think this is neat. FAQ, got it. This is the FAQ. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and then the home. Cool. Yeah, this is neat. I think purple is a fascinating choice of colors. I mean, it works. It absolutely works. I'd be curious to know about the purple and gold. What do you like, Lakers fans out here? But yeah, it works. So that's really neat. Okay, cool. And anyone else who's working on business in general, you can send something in. If you're working on software, this is the very best session to send something like that in. Okay, let's see what we got here. Shout out to Isaiah, came in. See, I think we set it at $100, so I don't know if it didn't read it just because you were at 99 because it's at 100. So that might be the problem there, because it's literally $100 and that was 99. So mathematically, a computer would not allow that to be read. So I think that might have been the issue. But shout out to the double baller alert. Isaiah writes, my luggage is a Boss check-in bag, strong handle, moves smoothly despite 40 pounds of clothes inside. Excited to show you during the men's trip. That's awesome. I'm excited to see it in person. He writes, thank you for the business teachings. You've changed me for the better. Side note, the chains are clean and a special treat for the assassin. Look, Isaiah sent me some images of his chains, and boy, I can tell you the diamonds were dancing like Michael Jackson in a real way. By the way, shout out to the ballers. Chris comes in. He writes, peace to the Saints. Shout out to the Saints who bought the software course and co-developed this with you. I am 60% through developing the web app we had a consultation about, dining with strangers, and benefited greatly from your course. Blessings, Belgian Saints. Shout out to the Saints in Europe. It's funny, the last two super chats were from Saints in Europe. I guess it's probably because they're not at work right now. These are business hours in the United States. There we go. Okay, so I jumped the gun on that one. Shout out to Jaylan supporting the work. Appreciate you. Okay, let's get back at it. So the neat thing we see here, there are a number of things that are working well. And there are probably some things that are not working well, like the fact that once we created the new account and we try, it didn't take us to the login dashboard right here. We see our timers working. We see that we bought $20 worth of credits and it's showing 16, which means that we spent some in sending this message to Vladimir Putin. So that's a good thing. Now we need to log into Vladimir Putin's account to send a reply to the fanboy. And so right now what I'm doing on my other screen is trying to log in to my email that I almost never use. One thing I want to also talk to you guys about, when you're building a technology such as this, like a web application or a mobile application, you have to know that you can build things from scratch, or you can use a number of plugins, or you can use APIs to pull information from certain places. So you're in this battle between having your developer build some things from scratch and having your developer use pre-existing technologies, pre-existing code bases to make things faster and easier. For example, we use Amazon Web Services, and when we wanted to create email notifications, we were looking to use a company called SendGrid. And SendGrid is supposed to allow you to have email notifications seamlessly integrated into your web application. However, I was doing it myself because I'm reasonably technical. I was trying to do it myself while I was abroad in Dubai and Philippines. And as a result, SendGrid's security features basically blocked me out of their website for good. And it blocked my financial information as well. Because sometimes, hackers from abroad, from certain countries, if they see an IP address from a foreign nation, or certain MAC addresses, they're going to block you. So we weren't able to use SendGrid, and their customer service was atrocious. So it actually worked out for the best. So instead of using SendGrid, we're using email.js. So that is the technology that we're using to handle our email notifications. We're not building this from scratch, and it's not really a good use of time when you're creating a minimum viable product. Shout out to RB. He writes, "Hi, Marquette. For someone who is 20 years old pursuing a career in cybersecurity, what would be an alternative for building a powerful network besides university?" The industry, right? Going to industry events, industry conferences, industry meetups. That's what you want to do. And the neat thing is that, the network you build in university is a general network. The network you would build going to industry specific events are going to be a bit more focused and helpful. And wishing you much success. You're a young man. You have all the time in the world, but that doesn't mean take your time. That means use the time. Shout out to none of the above, supporting the work as well. And one thing I want to point out about customer service, in general, it's important, but when you're in tech, it's hugely important, because when you experience a bug or you experience a failure in certain technologies that you're integrating into your mobile or web application, you really want it fixed quickly, right? And that's kind of the challenge with, for example, SendGrid. When I was trying to get them to approve my account, even though I was abroad outside of the United States, I was just hearing back from robots, or I was hearing back eventually from their customer service team in India, which was not very high quality. So that was a good thing. We actually essentially dodged a bullet in as much as, we ended up not using them. If you'll bear with me right now, I'm just trying to log into this email address I never use. And strangely, my other hosting service that is hosting this other email address, they're very slow. Is weird, actually. While that is going, let me catch up on some of these super chats that are coming, actually Cash Apps. May I acknowledge, Vlog writes, support, very insightful and nice sound effects. I appreciate you. Shout out to Vlog. May I also acknowledge Mr. Miles comes in via Cash App, writes tuition. All right, fantastic. May I acknowledge, okay, looks like we're caught up there. And you know, one thing I also want you guys to be mindful of when I do sessions like these, it's really impossible for this to be an exciting session because, you know, business, you know, especially at the early level it is not exciting, right? Like we have to tell the truth about things. And that's precisely why some people become millionaires and other people stay broke, is because they can't handle drudgery. They can't handle slowness. They can't handle boredom. So this is the email address called me@Marquette-Devon. And indeed the notification, let's see, we have a notification from down to chat. Frankly, they wrote down to chat like 3 separate words, which is fine. It's a small thing. And the subject line reads, "You just received a message from Fanboy," which is the username of the fan account. So that's good. "Dear Vladimir Putin," this is the legal name that I put in for this influencer. "You have received a message from Fanboy," and it tells me what the message is. "When will your interview with Tucker air?" Okay, that's good. And here's the sad thing, that, you know, sometimes you have to treat people like robots. And what I mean is that you have to do all of the thinking for some people. And in other cases, you have great employees who are thinkers and you don't have to ABC everything. But the truth is, if you want to make the big bucks, you have to be willing to ABC it when necessary. And you also have to try to hire good talent so you don't have to ABC it. And this is what I mean. The truth is that we want the person to reply. So the developer should have put in a link right here that you click it and you can reply to the message. They shouldn't have said what the message is, because we want you to go back to our website and reply to the message there. So that's a bit annoying because it doesn't even freaking have the URL. So it's not making it easy for the consumer. Another thing being that we're using email.js. Email.js is running from it says it's from down to chat, but it's actually running from my personal Gmail. So as you can see here, it says marquetteb@gmail.com. Now, most people are not savvy enough to know to hover over that to reveal the true email address that's relaying these emails. But eventually we're going to have to improve that, right? But for an MVP, this is good enough. But we do definitely need that link for them to reply. I actually, ironically, got a message from my developer right now, and I'm about to send them a note and tell, actually, I'm not going to send them a note. That would not be the best way. You always want to utilize your systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this system right here. And the reason that I'm not going to send an email back to my developer is because if I did that, then everyone on my team is not aware of the latest things going on. So instead, I'm going to go down to email notifications, right here. And then I'm going down to comments, right? And then I'm going to tag Saeed. I'm going to tag Saeed and write, can you add a URL for the person receiving the notification to log into their I'm down to.chat account so they can reply? Thanks. And I'm just, even though this is not on the right item, I'm still going to list it. By the way, the user's sign up is not working. And you want to be specific, so I'm going to specifically state it's not taking user to the inbox. And I'm going to click save. So that's the very smartest way to do that. Now my entire corporation, my entire company, they can go through and see what the latest is on this particular bug. That's good business. You don't want to send a text to your developer. You don't want to email them. You don't even want to call them unless you've already documented things on here. In business, you find generally there can be high levels of misunderstanding, but when you put things down in ink, digital ink, it removes that possibility. Shout out to Nico. He writes, "Good afternoon, sir. I'm really enjoying this live stream. I'm building my own website as well. I would love your criticism. Media friends, few bugs on the front and back end that I'm working on right now. Okay, got you. All right. So yeah, I'll pull up your website. Be happy to. So here we are, mediafrens.com. Okay. This upper part with the gray and then the gradient seems a bit old school. Media Friends. The name doesn't immediately mean something to me, but I'm interested. I like this glowing thing in the back. Amplify your social media impact with artificial intelligence driven follower engagement. When you have words go onto a different line, you want them to go onto a different line for meaningful reasons. Sometimes it's aesthetic and other times it's for pronunciation and understanding, because there's no period here, which would suggest it's not a sentence. Further, all of the first letters are capital, which would also suggest that it's not a sentence. Amplify your social media impact with artificial intelligence driven follower engagement. Like, that's a mouthful. It's a bit much. So let's see. How would I restate this? Amplify your social media impact. Well, what does that mean? Impact. Who wants impact? Do people want money? Do they want followers? Impact is too hazy. With artificial intelligence, okay, you could just put AI in, as much as everyone knows what AI means. It's one of the few acronyms we can use confidently. AI, IQ, things like that. Driven follower engagement. So I'd probably make it a touch clearer, which is to say, amplify social media impact with AI. Or, engage your followers with AI, or something a bit sharper and clearer, but that's not too bad. These images, some of them are pixelated, which is fine. I don't know that I would have these running through on a carousel, in as much as like when things are moving, they attract the eye. And you're not advertising Rumble, you're not advertising Instagram, so you don't want to attract the eye. People know what social media is and what social media options are out there. Instagram friends, YouTube friends. You don't want to use too much branded language until your brand becomes impactful. So this friends concept, I'd probably take that off for now. You got a lot of words here. Let's see. Amplify your Instagram presence with your new friends. Instagram friends boost your posts with authentic engagement. Well, if it's AI, it's not authentic, but it might look authentic. Increasing your chances of hitting the explore page and attracting a stream of new followers. See, now that's really persuasive. So less is more. So what I would do from a marketing standpoint, this first freaking sentence is gone, irrelevant. And I wouldn't use this term friends, confusing. People might think it's a lexical term. So what I would state is, boost your posts with authentic engagement. Let's talk about the outcome. Let's talk about what the user wants, the consumer wants. This sounds really good. Get to the explore page and attract a new stream of followers. So I would probably write right here, use AI to increase engagement with followers, so you can make it to the explore page and get new followers, something like that. I do the same thing for each of these. Okay. 3 simple steps to viral success with media friends. Number 1, subscribe and pay. Number 2, gain friends. Number 3, share. This whole block I don't find to have any meaning. So I probably remove this, and I would just put the pricing here perhaps. Boost your reach, where likes, follows, and views from your this new friends thing. It's like you don't want to use branded language too early. So I would cut out all the branded language. It's just, yeah. Okay. Again, this, I'd axe all of that. Okay. Monetize. That's going off of my screen. I'm sure you guys can fix that quite easily. It's just a UI issue. Leverage your newfound influence to unlock monetization opportunities, turning likes and follows into a new income stream. This doesn't actually speak to what you do, so I don't think it's very persuasive. It's kind of hard to navigate this page. I'm sure you can fix that easily. And remember, too much stylized text, too much stylized navigation is not helpful. Go viral. Yeah, people really are more interested in the how. Like, how do you do it? I would probably give a case study or like show specifically, like what things will look like for the consumer, or maybe show the dashboard they get to see, or show like a case study. Um, you know, okay, I'm scrolling down. Okay, there's the pricing. That's neat. Pricing is most important because this is how people pay you. So at the very top, you should have the word pricing should be a link. You can just click pricing and people can go straight down to pricing, because there's some people, they understand your offer and they're ready to spend some money. Again, like why we have like all of this stuff right here, just get this gone. Remember, less is more. I'd rather look at a more empty website that has the critical things than to have extra things, clutter. Anyways, 1,000 friends. Are these like, you mean followers or subscribers? Like, I'm actually starting to get angry, honestly. Anyways, how media friends is revolutionizing social media. That sounds a bit threadbare. It's like just like everyone says this kind of thing. AI powered social revolution. This is getting turned off here. It doesn't have meaning. Rewriting the social narrative. This is maybe something you'd say to an investor, but not to the buyer. Unleash your influencer potential with media. Yeah. Okay, so at the bottom right here where you have these links, home platform pricing, that pricing link should be at the top for sure. And give me a second. I freaking having trouble clicking this link because my menu for the Mac is actually hovering over it. So that's something to fix with your developer, is relocation of certain links. I can't even click platform, but I'm just going to go back up to the top and I'm going to click menu. Okay, there we go. Platforms. Yeah, see, this is not necessary because people are going to assume that you're on all the major platforms. And if you list their logos one time, it is just assumed. So yeah, I think it's I think you can simplify this a lot. But as of now, you have to know that you're not offering anything tangible that the consumer can use, and because of that, your aesthetic needs to be a lot better. So I'll tell you what I mean. Like, here's my website, right? The aesthetic sucks, right? The aesthetic sucks. But the user actually has utility. They can use the website. It has a feature, a function. So the aesthetic doesn't really matter, right? Because the consumer can actually use this. So the aesthetic is less important when there's utility. In your case, the consumer's never going to like use your website. They're going to pay you money, and then you're going to do something behind the scenes, and the results will manifest on their Instagram, follower base, or on their YouTube channel, right? So in as much as you're not giving them anything to use, you basically just are providing a facade, but your facade needs to be beautiful. So I would hire a professional designer to redo this thing, make it simple. This doesn't look bad at all. You need to ask yourself what your actual pricing strategy is. And what I mean is, what do you really want them to buy? So generally, the one in the middle is the one you expect most people to buy. The one on the left is for the cheapskates, right? The one on the right is for the ballers, which are very few. So you're really expecting to sell this one. So this one needs to be emphasized. This one you would think is de-emphasized because it's a white background, but it's also bigger, right? So that's not very good. It's not traditional. Traditionally, you might make this one bigger, and then these two on the ends are the same size and they have symmetry. So yeah, it's basic design. Symmetry is beauty, and design symmetry is beauty, right? Like, that's why I'm prettier than your favorite YouTubers. Look at the symmetry of my face. Symmetry, evenness. That is the beauty. Symmetry. So that's what you want to have on your website. And this is too many damn colors. Just side note, my boy, you got hella colors. You got green, yellow, purple, red. I'm colorblind, but like, I'm sure the people who are not colorblind, there's also a lot of colors here. So you need to clean this up. And remember, you're in a very superficial space. And in a superficial space, you really need to look good. Like, image is hugely important in what you're doing because there's not immediate utility. Like, for example, if someone paid you today, they cannot get value from what you do within 10 minutes. They cannot extract value within 10 minutes. If someone paid today on this website, they can extract value within 10 minutes. They can send a message to Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin gets a notification and he can reply within 2 minutes. They've instantly gotten value. You see what I'm saying? So the beauty of the website doesn't matter because people will come to the website because of the utility, and it'll sell because of the utility. So those are the things that you need to think about. And you're really smart. I mean, like, for 20 bucks, you just got a tremendous amount of value. So well played, well played. Mr. Gordon comes in, he writes, Saint, I would really like to hear your harsh opinion on my product page. Site is under construction, but I plan to run ads soon when finished. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay. We have a product page and we're immediately offering 10% off, which might work with your brand. It depends on where you're positioned in the marketplace. The imagery looks good. I'm just going to click no thanks here. Coast Rush, free US shipping, 1 to 2 week turnaround. That's reasonable. Looking for a skateboard built with unmatched precision. Okay, we slinging skateboards here. Okay, that's the deck. Everything's very clear. Where performance meets artistry. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. You know what I like about it in particular is the fact that the purchase is right here, right? Boom, add to cart. Now we out of here. We can spend this money. That's the key. So that's good. Now, adding adverts, I think that's going to be a big L. Where do you go to buy something and you're watching advertisements? Usually ads on a website, they're on information-based websites, right? Like if you go to marquettedevon.com and you're reading articles there, you might see some adverts because you're going to spend time on that page reading or watching a video perhaps. But if you're on the page for a short time, your dwell time is low. So being that your dwell time is low, you're not going to make a ton of money from the ads, potentially. And more importantly, you're going to distract. So it's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to sell the skateboard deck or are you trying to run ads? Usually you don't see that on merchandise websites or websites that are selling tangible products. You only see that on news websites, on content websites. So I would not do that. I would not do that at all. I highly recommend against that. Like highly. Thank you for asking. Honestly, that was good. And your website looks good, looks clean, looks like a cool product. I don't skateboard at all, never have. But if I did, I'd for sure be like, oh, let's take a look at this. Carrying on. May I acknowledge Justino. He actually sent some stock. Okay, we back at it. Shout out to Justino. He sent some stock. I don't know if he wants me to say, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, send me some stock in Snapchat. I'd be curious as to why he made that particular pick. I used to do a lot of lives on stock, so that's pretty cool to see that. I appreciate that, Justino. Thank you very much. And it's also a double baller alert. And stock I find to be fun. I find stock to be fun and entertaining. It's a mild form of gambling. You at least have an underlying asset, so it's better than gambling. But at the end of the day, you're trying to, double, triple, quadruple some money if you're playing it like I'm playing it, right? So that was pretty cool. Thank you. That was fun. I'm looking forward to tracking that and seeing how your pick was. That's kind of why I love it. I love it because when guys send me stock, especially if they send a decent amount, like $100, we can really track the true how it's varying, and I get to see how good your picks are. And frankly, I enjoy it. Carrying on. Okay, so here we are. Now I'm going to try to sign in as Marquette at hobbybuddy.com. Okay, cool. So here's my marquette@hobbybuddy.com email address. As you can see, we don't currently have any notifications, right? So there's no notifications there. And so I'm going to sign in to I'm down to chat as marquette@hobbybuddy.com. And so let's see if it'll let me sign in. Okay, it says logged in successfully. It's loading fast, which is good. And I'm clearly the fan right now because it says find influencers. It shows my credit, which is money I can spend. I see a notification here. I'm clicking it. Wait, I wanted to log in as Vladimir. I'm tripping. I'm super tripping. Oh, also, let's test this out. It should not let me double message. Is it going to let me double message? Which is to say message Vladimir before he's even responded. Great. It says, let's wait for a previous message to be responded to by the influencer. Brilliant. Okay, that's good. Now, after that lapse in competence, I'm going to log out and log into Vladimir's account, which was from the me at Marquette Devon. Let's type in password now. Boom, here we are. Okay. And now we're on the influencer side of things. So as you can see, it doesn't say credit, it says balance because it's talking about the money that I can earn as an influencer. I've received a message from this fan. I have 14 hours remaining to reply. I'm gonna go ahead and reply. This interview is airing within 18 hours. So I'm gonna click send. Okay, so I clicked send twice on accident. Which is fine. Anyways, it clearly sent out the message. Now I'm going to check the email address for the fan. So I'm going to refresh my email address. And it reads, you just received a message from Vladimir Putin. That's hilarious. And it reads from down to chat, which is our website. That's great. So now I'm opening it up. And it tells me what the message is, which I don't know if I love that. I think I prefer the mystery. I want the person to click the link. So it should for sure have a link like click here to reply. And that should link back out to I'm down to chat. Anyways, now I'm going to log out of Vladimir. And just because I'm an extra thorough person, I'm logging back into the fan. Okay, so here we are back on the fan side. And you see I have 16 bucks in credit. I should be spending about $4 every time I message. Now, here's the thing. It says 0 for the notification, but I actually did get a message back right here. So it should have said 1, but it doesn't matter as much because I actually got an email notification. All the same, I'm going to reply again just to make sure that my credits are being deducted. Howdy. Click send. Okay, boom. My credits went down from 16 to 12. That's good. Also, what I want to do as Vladimir is I want to get Vladimir's credits all the way up to, Vladimir's balance, the influencer, all the way up to 50 bucks so that he can request a withdrawal, so he can withdraw his money. I am going to check a number of other things while we're on this session. May I acknowledge SP comes in via Super Chat. He writes, in your professional experience, what kind of projects, features, and coding languages would companies want to see to hire a junior web developer? Is there a situation in the hiring process where I can over-deliver? Yeah, absolutely. Performance tasks. Generally, if you're a dev going in, for whatever position, they might write up some code on a dry erase and ask you to debug. You heard me? They might write up some code, or they might ask you, I have a question for you about object-oriented, and they'll ask you a question, so be ready to answer it. They're not going to play games with you. It's going to be highly practical based on real skills that you'll use every day on the job. With regards to coding languages, you really want to first ask yourself, what do I actually want to be able to do? What's my ultimate end goal? So is your end goal to be a tech entrepreneur? Is your end goal to be a tech employee, a software developer within a large corporation, maybe a Fortune 500, maybe a Fortune 100, maybe a Fortune 1, whatever the case is? If you want to be an employee, then you should be asking yourself, what is the technology infrastructure that these kinds of companies are using? And then I would get into that, like, do I want to be a back-end guy? Do I want to deal with data? Do I want to deal with security? Do I want to deal with front-end, consumer-facing, mobile, what, figure that out for yourself. And then based on that, I would look at what's the latest and greatest, which is changing. I remember when I was studying software development or coding, let's say simply, Ruby on Rails was all the rage. No one talks about it anymore, but it was all the rage when I started, which I think was in like 2012, I think, something like that. So, you have to answer some of those questions first for yourself. Who do you want to be, entrepreneur or employee? And after you answer that one, if the answer is entrepreneur, then you want to become competent enough, but you don't want to become a coder. If the answer is employee at a big company with a high salary, then you want to ask yourself, well, what do I want to do for the company? What's most interesting to me? And then you go from there. Google is always going to be your friend in terms of knowing what is in highest demand. What I would search is, which fill in the blank has the highest salary. And I would go with that. And you're going to learn things on the job anyways. But when you get in the door, you want to get in the door in the strongest possible position. Okay, so here's my other email address. This is the email address of Vladimir Putin. And so we see that he received another message. Dear Vladimir Putin, you have received a message from Fanboy. And so this is my second message. So the notifications are clearly working for the messages. Now we want to see if Vladimir Putin can, now I don't have time to do this right now live, and I'll probably meet up with the team and get this done. But we want to get Vladimir Putin's balance up to $50 so that he can withdraw it. Now I want to check through the other bugs that were listed. So first off, this is marked as complete. It says influencer sign up not working. I got some baddies walking by. Lord Jesus! Lord Jesus! Oh, she got a cigarette. I'm done with her. You dig? Anyways, influencer sign up not working. So the description writes, when user lands at I'm down to chat and clicks influencer sign up after submitting information, the next screen does not populate. This is still a problem. This developer, and you have to remove emotions from this whole affair. They clicked done. This is not done, clearly. So now it says you cannot edit the resolution field. Okay. So now I'm going to go to comments, and I'm going to at Saeed. Damn it. I'm sorry. This is still not working. Please fix. Okay, so that's not working right there. And I don't like that Jira won't allow me to make this unfinished. So I'll just put this in review. There we go. Okay, so that one definitely is not correct. And then it says fan sign up not working when user, okay, same thing. So this one is not working either. So I'm just gonna put this one back to in review. And then I'm gonna go ahead and note this for the developer again. Still not working. And these kinds of things, frankly, this is when I start saying to myself, okay, I wanna hire a new developer. And to hire a new developer, you have to make sure that you're getting good code pushes. So they're pushing code to your repository so that if someone else comes on new, they have well-commented code that they can just iterate on and build on. Granted, bad developers usually write bad code and they comment poorly, but you still got to ask them to do it. But right now, the fact that I have to do this more than one time as a CEO and as a person who is busy, and my time is expensive, I'm not expressing anger, but I am angry because I shouldn't have to do this. Now, am I going to yell or curse or get angry? No, I always ask myself, well, what is the action to take, right, to remedy the problem? Well, the action for me is always to hire someone better. So that's always where I'm oriented. Please implement updated landing page. So this actually does appear to have been implemented. Yep. My landing page looks just like this. Do we have the icon right there? Let's take a look. Let's see if it'll allow us to go to the main page. Boom. Okay, so this actually is finished. That's an easier one. And And sometimes you have to wonder, like, is this person trying to cheat me? Are they trying to pull a fast one? You don't know. Some people are just goofy, and sometimes people actually are trying to scam. But either way, you'll be protected from that by your diligence. So this one is actually complete. I'm gonna go ahead and put a thumbs up on that one. Okay. Oh, okay. That's an upvote. All right, whatever. So this one's complete. I'll leave that as is. And what else do we have? Email notifications. So when influencer or a fan receives a message, an automated email should be sent to them with a link to reply. Oh, I am smart. I did tell them to do that from the beginning, and they didn't do it. So again, this is the kind of thing that makes me know that I could say it makes me angry, but instead it makes me know that I need to hire another developer because these guys are wasting my time. So I'm going to have them complete it. I'm going to have them I'm going to have them complete the task. I'm going to pay them. They're going to upload the code, and then I'm going to go hire another team. But remember, anytime you have people overlap, anytime you fire someone from your company, whatever kind of company it is, I don't really care. This is true in all cases. You always want overlap. I'm willing to pay 2 people to do the same job for however it takes for there to be a clean overlap.
I'm a large-scale crypto miner. I essentially rent out my computing power to various projects and get compensated in the coin we agree on. I'm curious on your thoughts about selling to cover the costs of power versus holding for market cycles, then selling, testing, PT.
There we go. But first, everyone confirm that you also heard that. I definitely heard it. Did you hear it? Shout out to Anonymous One. He's the very first person to use our text-to-speech. We got some psychopaths in the building. It is crazy out here. Shout out to Anonymous One for being the very first person to use text-to-speech. Actually, not the first person, the second person, but the first on this stream. The first time I think it worked. Can someone confirm? I'll give you guys a couple moments to confirm that you were able to hear that. And while I'm doing that, let me get this psychopath out of here. People are mental. Loud and clear. Awesome. You know, I wish it would read a Tucker and honor that, and then of course be able to address it. So anyways, I'm a large scale crypto miner. I'd also be curious as to where you are. You know, this can be can be quite a thing depending on the costs in your locality. He writes, I essentially rent out my computing. So, okay, I put a period there. I'm assuming he's in America since he's using USD. I essentially rent out my computing power to various projects and get compensated in the coin we agree on. That's curious. All right, I would have thought it'd be the coin that's being mined. I'm curious on your thoughts about selling to cover the cost of power versus holding for market cycles, then selling, testing, peace of the saints. This is a good question. I appreciate this question. And for those of you who are in paper assets, which is to say stock and other things that are more traditional asset classes, this is a question that can apply to both traditional asset classes as well as crypto, which some people treat as an asset, which it is in fact not. But you can still buy and trade it and make profits in the same way you can with paper assets. Anyways, if it were me and I was not, illiquid, I was not hurting for money, I would undoubtedly hold on to that freaking coin, whichever one they're giving you, and I would sell it at the most opportune time that I could calculate, which is to say, no, I would not be selling it to cover my power cost. I'd sell it when it's most opportune to sell, when the cycle, as you put it, demands. So I hope you can stick to that, because remember, every game has rules. The game of money making also has rules, and you don't want to behave like a nation in sub-Saharan Africa, which is to say you're taking out loans on bad terms because you just need the money. You want to take out loans on good terms, whether you need the money or not. And even if you do need the money, you have to think and behave like you don't need the money. You have to think and behave rationally. So what I'm telling you is, even if you have significant power costs and you need to cover those costs, if you're dealing with a coin, which a coin is going to have variable value, right? Depending on the market cycle, I'd rather hold on to the coin and pay out cash to cover my expenses, because the dollar, a fiat currency, you're not going to get the kind of returns with your crypto that you would get, the dollar is declining in value. The dollar is never experiencing deflation, right? So I'd rather spend a dollar than spend those coins if you're getting paid in a decent coin, right? You're getting paid in Ether or Ripple or XRP or what have you. You're getting paid in something that's not a shit coin, then yeah, I would rather hold the coin. Okay. He says Marquette's text-to-speech got infected by the Red Queen from Resident Evil. It did sound a little bit like, I didn't like the way it sounded. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna change the voice. It's like 40 different voices we can do. It says, anyone else hear some echo in the text-to-speech? Yeah, I'd be curious. Let me know. Let me know. Carrying on. These people are psychopaths, boy. Oh my goodness. One thing I want you guys to be aware of when you want to understand evil, right? Evil exists in the world, wickedness, and there's various levels of devil, right? There's levels to all things. One of the ways you can easily spot a devil is by their behaviors, of course. They're inclined to jealousy. They're inclined to being idle. They're inclined to getting involved in the affairs of others. They're inclined to trying to control others. These people often overpopulate government positions. These are the ones who tend to want to be the politicians. People who are happy and healthy, they mind their own business. They focus on their own goals and outcomes, on their own family, on things that are more immediate to them. So you'll easily be able to tell who's wicked among us. The wicked are the gossipers. These are the idlers. It's very easy. He says there's a little bit of reverb on that. Okay. Okay, so I'm actually not using a mic. I'm using the built-in mic on the computer. So when I engage the Rodecaster system with the mics and the headphones, it'll certainly remove the echo, but I still have to make sure that we're able to hear it still, because we weren't able to hear it last time. I am on the premium version. I've paid the most amount of money possible. So I do actually have customer service for this product, so I will be reaching out to them. Certainly they're not going to respond as quickly as we would like, but we can try it. Anyways, carrying on. And thank you again for sending in the first text-to-speech, allowing us to test out that feature. And also, I congratulate you on doing something unique and also engaging in a bleeding edge business. But I want to encourage you to stick to those timeless principles in business. Buy low, sell high. You heard me? Buy low, sell high. Don't sell because you need the money, okay? Don't ever behave like a sub-Saharan African nation, acting out of need. Don't do that. Carrying on. May I acknowledge Justino? Actually, I already got that one. My apologies. May I acknowledge Melvin? He writes, peace to the saints. Message via email. Thank you. His message is, can you explain how you are able to make connections with people, make them feel loved, and inspire them to do your bidding? And about the other saying, I don't think fake engagement can be monetized or inspire true growth, because the algorithms will keep sending your video to the bots, hence blocking growth. Thanks. I hear you, bruh. Number one, making connections with people is a different matter when you're considering the male gender and the female gender. So one, some of the most effective networking is intergender, in my opinion, which is to say male to female. And number two, when you're networking with the same gender, male to male, you would be aware that males usually relate best when they are building together. You're in the same industry. And so you offer value first, which is to say you do them a favor. You help them make more money. You provide them a unique insight. You put your hands into the soil with the man. And over time, the respect builds from his observation of your sincerity in helping him, but also your work ethic, which is to say generally, a man will yield to your leadership when he observes that you can do something he can't do. You have to outperform a man to get his respect. And with regards to the second piece, you said what you said. I read it, and I trust the saint is listening along to hear your point. Thank you for sharing that. May I acknowledge Anthony? He writes, how to fix self-hatred. Boss University. Boss University, the first whole section is about self-improvement, self-reflection, introspection, looking within. Self-hatred is an unfortunate thing. More people experience it than people experience it, but they don't realize it. You're already at a good level in as much as you can see it. And there's levels to self-hatred. One might hate themselves based on them being a part of a given group. One might hate themselves because of who they are as an individual. They might hate themselves because they're taking on the perception that their parents or friends or society has upon them. So there's various reasons, but Boss University, I think, is the most far-reaching effort to counter that and to feel good about yourself and to go for the greatest things in life. I acknowledge, and if someone would drop the link for the gentleman. And I'm wishing you well in your self-correction. Shout out to Quad. Comes in with a double baller alert via Cash App. He writes, question in email. Okay, let's take a look, see what we got here. I don't see an email. I'll give you some time to go ahead and send that over. Anyways, getting back to the bugs. So email notifications, they actually were supposed to include a link. So these people are just being actually sloppy. Now, what I recommend that you do is once you notice that there's a consistent issue, then you need to have a very serious conversation, about work quality, about expectations, about company culture. And so now what I'm about to do is I'm about to ask for a video call meeting. So I'm actually about to send that request right now. And the worst thing you can do is to berate anyone or to put anyone down. It's generally not impactful. There are certain situations in which, showing more toughness is going to be more impactful. Can we set up a video call to discuss the work you delivered? That's exactly what I'm saying. Can we set up a video call to discuss the work you delivered? Are you free in 1 hour? I like urgency. There we go. And one thing you should know, America is a special place for now. The West and Western culture is special for now. And what I mean is that we generally don't try to cheat each other in America. And also, let's just say in America, we generally don't try to cheat each other. When you're dealing with people around the world, you're dealing with different cultures in general and specifically different business cultures. And, people are out here trying to get paid. And sadly, they're trying to get paid at any cost. They don't necessarily feel that they have to get the work done to collect that check. They just want that check. And so in as much as that's the case, you're going to encounter a great many persons who are less than honorable. And the truth is you're going to have to introduce them to your business culture. And it's not a racial or ethnic discrimination thing when I say that I avoid with every bit of my being doing any business with the country of India and the country of Pakistan. So if anyone is currently an Indian national or a Pakistani national, or they have employees there, I will not collaborate with your business because too consistently the work quality is low. And that's just the facts. I do have a business partner who is in fact an Indian national. We've been doing business together since like 2014, really maybe 13. That's a long time. So damn, that's a decade. Yeah, we've been doing business together for a decade. He's an Indian national. I know him well. He does good business. But I would not take the risk on meeting a new person from the country of India and seeing if they do good business, if they're honorable. It's improbable. And so I don't have time to play games with that. I'd much rather do business with someone who's in a country where the business culture is more, less inclined to low quality work, less inclined to being obsessed with getting paid. The people are not on the brink of starvation such that money is the primary driver. They work for money, but they also work to be proud of their work product. So, those are the kind of things that are they might not sound PC, it might not sound good, but it's going to save you hella time. It's going to save you a lot of time and annoyance. I promise you. So anyways, what I'm going to do with the rest of these bugs, I'm going to get my tech lead on a video call, and I'm going to go back through in detail, and I'm going to show them each one where there's been a failure to complete the work, and I'm going to ask him why. I'm going to ask him, where's the attention to detail? Where's the focus on quality? Why didn't you QA your own stuff? Do you expect the CEO of a company to be your QA? If so, how much are you going to pay me? Are we going to dock you? What's our solution? Do you expect to get paid? And these are all questions I'm going to let them answer. And then no matter what the answers are, I'm going to demand that they do the work according to the standards that I have. And then I'm going to go hire another firm, because I truly believe that you cannot turn someone into that which they are not. That's why we have a 3-sentence Bible. Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. Number 1, be yourself. If you're a person who does high quality work, you wouldn't consistently screw this up, right? So that's number 1. And number 2, be good to yourself. I'm going to be good to myself by, working with good people. This is not good work, but it's okay in as much as we're at the MVP level. This is a part of the process of developing technology or building a business from nothing, from scratch, is finding the right people. Finding the right people, getting the right team. Once you get the dream team, then we can put the ball in the net. You heard me? But it is a process, and what you have to make sure you don't do is get too attached to any given team member. You got to get attached to the outcome. You make sure you don't get attached to any given product, any given design. You look at the data and you look at what the opportunities are. So that's where the focus is. The focus can't be on the petty things or on the emotionalism. So make the moves, take the action. So in business and in life, you shouldn't ever, as a man, say, I'm mad or I'm angry. You should instead say, I'm going to do this to solve the problem. I'm going to say this or do this to fix the issue. There you go. Ladies and saints, I'll give you some time to send in your comments, questions as we wind down. The funny thing is, as they say, if it's not one thing, it's another. And sometimes when you're writing code, it almost seems as though when one bug is fixed or when one feature is fixed or improved, it breaks something else. It feels that way sometimes. But another thing that you get comfortable with very quickly is you get comfortable very quickly with the idea of not everything's going to work. Some things will be broken. You see, in the software business, generally there's always going to be some bugs. And you have to ask yourself, are these the type of bugs that I can live with? That's why you're always getting updates, right? You're always going to get an update on Instagram or on fill in the blank TikTok app that you use on your phone. And even on Apple, they push through software updates because software must be updated. And especially on the mobile application side. That's why I don't like mobile applications, frankly, because if there's a new iPhone, there's new dimensions for the phone. If there's a new operating system, there's an infinite number of reasons that you would have to update your mobile application that have nothing to do with your mobile application. You're having to update it because of something another company did. So I like to stay away from those things.